Well, Yuvi, thank you so much for your time today and congratulations on the film.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
It's a big deal. So your role, and correct me if I'm wrong, you are playing a young version of David, who is also Colin Farrell's character
Yes, correct.
in the film. Talk to me a little bit about, I'm going to try to break down this super long question, one question at a time. Exploring the younger side of David, knowing that in the story, for the majority of it, you see him at his current age. Talk about for you as an actor, your process of kind of like taking it back, walking the character back and breaking it down.
Oh, that's a great question. So, especially with a younger version, I studied a lot of Colin, just watching him in his previous projects. And with this specific film, I remember we talked and he gave me some great advice and he was very generous with his time and he really helped me tap into the younger Colin.
Well, that's great. I was going to ask if you had an opportunity to meet with him and what were some of the back and forth between the two of you on exploring this character and also can you touch also on picking up the mannerism as you talked about from Colin, like physically and maybe a little bit in the way he speaks.
Yeah, so I worked a lot on his accent specifically. So what I did when I was learning his accent is he literally read all of my lines into his phone. He recorded it to me and he sent it to me, and I would just listen to it over and over and over and repeat it. And that's how I kind of learned his accent, and his dialect. And I remember before we went to shoot, he invited me to his trailer and I was just reading my lines, and he was listening to my accent and to see if there was anything any notes that he had for me. Um, so yeah, like I said, he was super helpful and he gave me some great advice. But that made it really easy to tap into the younger Colin. It's just working off of him and learning from him.
Wow, I think that's really cool actually like to not to just meet with him, but to work one-on-one with him and having him listen to the way you said those lines to make sure like that accent was right. I love that because that means when we see the film as the audience, the young version, which is, your performance is going to match up with his performance.
Yeah, yeah. It's very, very important, especially when you're playing a younger version of someone in real life, you got to match him. So.
Yeah. Was it super nerve-wracking to sit in the trailer and like have him just kind of stare you down as you said those lines?
I wouldn't say nerve-wracking. I would say there was a lot of, I was very excited, especially I did some Disney projects previously and coming onto a set like this and such an incredible movie there was so much excitement going through me and I was really just trying to live in the moment and take everything in. So.
So, since we're still in conversation about kind of embodying young David, what was something that you would do or say for yourself to kind of bring yourself back into the way that he spoke or the way that he moved on set?
What's most important with this character, since he's such an emotional character and especially this scene where it's one of his most vulnerable moments in his previous, his life, it's very important to bring personal experiences into the character so that it's very real, so you can really feel what the character's supposed to feel. Um, so that's what I did. I tried to bring in some previous moments in my life to this character and really live in it. And that's what I brought.
Well, I can't wait to see it all come together within the story. Can you talk a little bit about your audition process, like casting call, audition callback, and etc.?
Yeah, so I did the first audition and it was about I'd say 2 to 3 weeks and I didn't hear anything. And I was like, man, I really felt that one, I don't know what's going on. And then like a week later, I get a call from my manager and he's like, yo, they pinned you. And I'm like, no, no way. And I was so excited. And it was a couple of days where I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then about a week later, they sent my manager another email and they were like, he's got it. He's got it. So he called me up, he told me, and yeah, it was just one audition and then straight to pin, and then I booked it. Yeah.
I feel like that's so rare. I'm not saying it doesn't happen
Yeah,
often,
yeah. No,
right?
it is
But
very rare.
Because like with that, you have to usually go for a callback and then you go in front of the producer and then
Yeah, you have
potentially the
rounds of
director.
callbacks, and it's just,
Yes. Like
yeah,
I've heard it takes months.
yeah, it's very, very uncommon. So this was,
That's
it was,
amazing. You blew them away.
yeah, thank you. I mean, I guess it was a pretty easy per se auditioning process.
Yeah, I think it's just like the waiting time of like, you finish your performance, as actors, I think you want to like, okay, I did this, I'm gonna put this here,
Yeah,
I'm gonna move it to the side, I'm gonna focus on the next thing that comes in. Because
I
you
think,
just because you have to, but then
yeah.
like in the back of your mind, you're like, I did so well.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, I think, about auditioning, is especially when you feel like you did a good one, is just moving on and putting that to the side. And if it comes, it comes, and just having that mindset.
Can you also talk about your experience working on set with director? I'm gonna totally butcher his name.
Kogonada. Yeah. No, he's an incredible director. I mean, his movies are beautiful. You know, they're very visually pleasing. I don't know if you watched After Yang or Columbus. Those are two of my favorite movies that he made. But he comes to set with a blueprint. You know, he comes to set with all these specifics that he has in mind, and but he also gave me the room as an actor to kind of explore my character. And I think as an actor, you can't ask for much more than that. You know, being able to feel comfortable and exploring the character and doing what you feel is he was amazing in every way.
So, let's go back to young David and talk about your experience portraying this character. You were talking about earlier is that you pull some of your own experiences, to kind of put into that character. So, for everybody who haven't seen the film yet, talk a little bit about who David is.
So David, I'll give the whole story. So David and Sarah, they are these two strangers, and they meet at this wedding, and fate kind of brings them on this journey, like this big, bold, beautiful journey. And they go together, and they revisit their past. They go through these doors that take them to memories, some of their most vulnerable moments. And they get the chance to kind of repaint their future, and to learn about each other. And yeah, it's funny, it's emotional, it's magical, and it's a love story. I think some people can really connect to it.
I want to talk a little bit about your own journey as well. So it's a very, I feel like comparing your previous project, but Pretty Freaking Scary, to this is very different stories. But
Yeah, night and day.
how would you compare your experiences on both sets?
Wow. Well, I mean, like you said, incredibly different. I had magical experiences on both. I'll start with Disney. I think that I made some friends for life on that show, and I still hang out with them to this day, still talk to them. And that whole cast and crew, very similarly to Big Bold Beautiful Journey, they were so amazing, and everyone was friends. It felt like you were coming onto set to your family, and it made the work environment very easy, and everyone was easy to work with. And same thing with a Big Bold Beautiful Journey. The only real difference is what you're shooting and the schedules. The schedules are very different. With the Disney shows, everything is like planned out, and you have boom, 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 next scene. We're gonna film this scene and go to the next straight away. Um, with the movie, it kind of breathed more. You had a little more time to sit with it, and you had a little more time in between takes. So that was the main difference.
I love like a little glimpse into that because I don't think people realize that film and TV move really differently on set,
Yeah,
timing wise.
very
It's
different, very
yeah,
different.
they got a schedule. They're like, okay, next episode tomorrow, let's
Yeah,
go. You yourself have an incredible journey. You grew up basically you're like international. You've been everywhere. You speak
that
so many
is,
different
yeah.
languages.
I'm from international. That is
You're international.
that's what I
So
said.
you were born in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I was born in Hong Kong. I was there for 7 years.
Wow.
And then I was in Austria for 3 years, and then Indiana for 5 years. That's where I really started my journey, my acting journey, is in Indiana. And I mean, there's not much of an industry there, so it was hard to really get started up. But eventually, you meet the right people, you make the right connections, and they have connections that bring you into bigger and better projects.
For sure. Have you retained any of the languages from?
Yeah, so I mean, I learned Mandarin as a kid, but man, that language is crazy. That
It's
is a
hard.
hard language, you know. So I forgot most of that, and I was almost fluent in German, I'd say. I lost a lot of my speaking, but I can still understand German, and I'm also fluent in Hebrew. So
Oh wow.
yeah.
Wow, you really are international.
Yeah, pretty international, yeah. But it was great, you know, having the opportunity to grow up in all these different places, you get to get a grasp of all these different cultures and people, and you learn a lot.
Yeah. And you're also really active, like in sports, martial arts. I think you study capoeira.
Yeah, yeah, I did capoeira in Hong Kong for 7 years, competing. Love to surf, basketball, soccer, football. Big sports guy, yeah.
So you've traveled, lived, you're like super cultured because you've lived everywhere. And I think that's really awesome because not a lot of people get to have that experience. And I think for you, you probably see the world a little bit differently because of your upbringing. And I think that's really great. Having done sports, how did you find in all of this acting?
You know, I really just tried it out. And I filmed this short film with former Nickelodeon and Disney stars, and they kind of showed me what the industry was like. And I really just fell in love with acting and with storytelling, and that was something that I would always love doing as a kid. And I just kept the ball rolling, and I kept taking classes, and again, I just met the right people and got the right opportunities.
It's a huge congratulations to
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you.
For the audience who are about to watch A Big Bold Beautiful Journey and to see you in it, what is something that you hope the audience find with the story?
With this story, I mean, there's so much to feel. You know, it's such an emotional ride, and it's a love story, and it's moving and it's hopeful, and I hope people leave the theater feeling inspired. You know, hopefully thinking about what doors they're ready to open in the future and get ready to go on their journey.
Well, I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing you in the movie, and I look forward to all of your future roles that we get to see you play on screen.
Thank you so much.